because the blue team stepped out of the line, they have been disqualified. Their points don't count, and they aren't moving on to the aggro crowd.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. Songs of the Year series, and today we are tackling 1998 as we inch ever closer to the end of the 90s and the new millennium. We kind of weren't too high on 97, weren't a big fan of that year, especially when it comes to the Hot 100. 98 is a weird one because it's even worse for the majority of the year, and then all of a sudden in December they change the rules and all of these songs suddenly chart at the end of the year. So interested to see what you guys got. How you feeling about the year?
I think it's a little better than 97, but still among probably the bottom 5 we've ever done for maybe both even. It wasn't a great year for albums for me.
I mean, I'm basically saying every chance I get, 98 is the worst year ever for everything. And Billboard, no better than 97. Still pretty lousy. And then the deep cuts are just atrocious. So don't watch. Just you can go home now. You don't have to watch this episode. We'll see you in 99.
I thought the wildcards were better than I expected them to be because I didn't feel too high on the year as far as albums went. But there was a decent bit of stuff there for me. If you don't know, if you haven't seen the show before, we do 2 lists, one set of 5 songs from the Billboard Hot 100, another set that we consider wild cards, which could have also charted, or they can be deep cuts, B-sides, soundtrack, compilation, from wherever. We save one song for the very end, our favorite song of the year. So one of the lists will be one song short. We also make a selection for our least favorite top 40 song of the year. So that's what's about to go down. Who's kicking it off this week?
Weak year. Would have been even weaker if it weren't some songs that charted that I'm kind of surprised charted, which helps things out, including this one off of Pearl Jam's Yield, got Given to Fly. Really pretty, picturesque song. It's got that cool, like almost folky kind of jangly piece, but it's done on electric guitar. But it's got great momentum kicking out of the verse and getting into the chorus, and really has a lot of power behind it. I'm also going with Intergalactic, Planetary, Intergalactic, Beastie Boys, Intergalactic, really awesome. It sounds earlier than 98. Like when I saw it listed for 98, I was like, did this not come out in the early 90s? So it's still kind of got that early kind of house music vibe to it, which I think is really cool. But it's one of my more favorite, just fun Beastie Boys, / hip hop songs of this time. I'm also going to go with the slow dance staple of our generation growing up. Got to go Casey and JoJo. All my life. It has become a bit of like a joke, not a joke, but there's a lot of kind of like, But I actually do think it's a pretty darn good song. It's got that great piano lead. It's very soulful. The melody is terrific as well. Hits all the right notes. Also going to go with Ava Adore by the Smashing Pumpkins, which is fantastic. It's got that awesome like nuclear goth rock vibe and that big just sunken bassy tone sludging around, and then the chorus is actually really catchy as well. And then here's my big shocker. I'm going popular country. I'm going Shania Twain with You're Still the One. I think it's a fantastic song. The verse and everything just has perfect build with those little piano taps coming in. It's incredibly catchy. It builds great. The pacing of just like the bass coming in just on the root notes, like really sunken in. I think it's a beautiful song. She might have the greatest abs and belly button situation of any woman of all time. That helps it. So, great song, great stomach. Go Shania, go Mutt Lang.
It didn't really get a strong consideration, but I do like that song, and I like it enough that I wrote it down. So it was on my list. But
also, Harry Styles does a really cool cover of it. So there's that as well. Just throwing that out there.
All right, 98. Cramser with some good pop hits. I have a couple of my own. I'm going to go Never Ever by All Saints. Basically, they took Amazing Grace and turned it into a vapid pop song, but it hits, it works. I like it. Much better. You know, I'll take the Brit version of pop over Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys, whatever was going on here. And I really like the way they say from A to Z at one point in the song. I find it hilarious that British and Canadians call the letter Z Zed. It's hilarious. Number 4. Does anyone remember the show Cupid with Jeremy Piven? It was on way back in the day about a guy who thinks he's Cupid. He gets out of a mental hospital. Great show. I remember seeing the commercials for the show, and this song was in them. Crush by Jennifer Page. I like this song. I really liked that show. It got canceled after like 15 episodes, unfortunately. Number 3, Crush by Dave Matthews Band. I got 2 crushes in the same year. Who would have thought? This crush is 8 minutes of smooth Dave Matthews. Amazing bass line, Stephen Lassard. The drumming's fantastic. A really great violin solo. And some actual cool electric guitar work. Dave is kind of, you know, he's usually the weakest member of the band, but he's doing some cool stuff here. And it's just very catchy. He used to play it on the radio, surprisingly. Number 2, I'm going to go with my girl, Tori Amos, who had 2 songs chart this year. I'm going to go with Jackie's Strength. And I got to think Lana Del Rey owes like her entire career to this song. I guess I never heard this one until more recently. But just, you know, the rise that she does in the chorus is just like a perfect dead ringer for what Lana Del Rey does. And in this song, there's a bunch of references like Jacqueline Bouvier / Kennedy. And it's just like such a Lana Del Rey vibe. My number 1, though, is going to have to wait because it did chart.
Got to be Eagle Eye Cherry then.
All right, I'm going to start my Hot 100 list off with Fire Escape by Fastball, the follow-up to their bigger single, The Way. I like this way more. I've seen Fastball referred to as a one-hit wonder. I think this song was almost forgotten about. People just love The Way, but I've always thought that this chorus was way stronger. I think it's great. It's kind of jangly. It's just a great pop tune. I like it a lot. After that, I've got Never There by Cake. Love Cake. You know, I think they've got these really humorous tunes. I like the dry deadpan vocal delivery, but so much great musicianship underneath as well. Really interesting band. And I love the trumpet on this song. I think it's really cool. Then I'm going with Hole with Celebrity Skin, co-written by Billy Corgan. Always loved this song from the second it came out. I think it's a great rock song. I think it's a great pop song. I think it's amazingly well written. I think it's really well produced. I love the bridge section where it kind of lightens up a little and it's not as crunchy. And I don't know. I think it's great. Her vocals on it are great. Then I'm going to go with Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground. Really weird song. Nonsensical lyrics, basically. I remember hearing it back in the day and thinking it was like so weird and so unique. Looking back in hindsight, I can hear now that it's kind of just like Nirvana light, but still so cool. Apparently, a lot of people hate this song. I don't know. I think it's really, really cool. And then I've also got Given to Fly by Pearl Jam. It was between this and Wishlist. My favorite song off that record is Faithful, but that one didn't chart. I think this is a great tune. Cram said it very well. It's kind of a blatant Going to California ripoff, but who cares? I think the drumming on it's great by Jack Irons. Eddie sounds fantastic. Belting to the Heavens. The way it builds up and then drops and then builds back up again. Just really epic. Great tune from Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised any of those Pearl Jam songs charted. I don't remember hearing them on the radio at all. So anyway, let's get to the wild cards, shall we? Air won in my album of the year in 1998 with Moon Savari, and I've got one track representing said winner. I've got All I Need featuring Beth Hirsch on vocals. Fantastic. It's like space jazz lounge, great bass line on it. I love the way she sings it with like these pursed lips and kind of like does these cute little cutoffs of like the last line. Great circular acoustic guitar part, really catchy. But when it gets real quiet and like the chorus, I guess, quiet and like kind of sexy, and she just does like those high falsetto moans and wails, and then those keys come in. Very cool atmosphere of that song. I've also got Massive Attack with Inertia Creeps, another great trip hop beat with really great atmosphere, totally transcendent. Really love the drums and this little clankety clank like percussion thing they do behind it. Love the vocals by 3D. Has all like the best late 90s sounds for the genre. Makes you feel like you're in this futuristic internet spy thriller kind of thing. Very cool. And then this is going to make that one dude in the comments super giddy. I've got This Year's Love by David Gray. I am not a big David Gray fan, and until we are forced at gunpoint by that guy to do his lustography, this will be the last you hear of David Gray for me. But this is a great song. It's a tremendous piano ballad. He doesn't have my favorite voice of all time, but I think he sounds pretty good. But really the beauty of this song is in like the rhythm of his melody kind of going in and out. It's like he's like exacerbated singing it. It's so cool. And then finally, I've got California Stars by Billy Bragg and Wilco off Mermaid Avenue. Really beautiful, spacious, but sharp kind of country Americana sound. Tweedy sounds really great. I don't know, something about later Tweedy doesn't sound as good to me, but like this era through like Yankee Hotel, I just think he sounds so good. I love the canned kind of drum sound. It really helps, gives you like this rustic, rural feeling to it. Like it's being played in a silo. I love it. The bass line's really good. It's just a really pretty song. Has all the classic stereotypes of this genre. It's got that really awesome, distant, twangy guitar sound in the background. And then my winner will wait.
All right. I gotta say, my number, I don't do honorable mentions much, but I got two this time. Number 7, Money City Maniacs from Sloan. That one's for Jason. And number 6, I got Teardrop from Massive Attack, which I would have thought would be Cramser's pick, but nonetheless, my number 5 is going to be Out There from Fuzz Bubble. How many songs from the Godzilla soundtrack can I get on this list? There's one. This is just a dirty, messy, great power pop song that, from a band that no one ever heard of and no one ever heard from again, except for when they backed up P. Diddy on a video and on SNL. And that was about it. But this is a great song. A lot of fun. Number 4, I got Eddie Walker from Ben Folds 5. Not on any of his major releases, but is on Naked Baby Photos, B-side, whatever it was. Just a super emotional song. I think it's in D minor. It just brings out just like feelings in me. He's such a good songwriter, lyricist. No matter how like hard the song gets with the fuzz bass and the slamming piano and drums, just always so melodic, and I just love Ben Folds 5. So number 3, I got Fuel from Metallica. This is James Hetfield's Pirate Phase, but I love this song. The riff just gets me amped. I listen to this anytime I need to get pumped up for something. My first go-to, give me fuel, give me fire. With me, pumped up. And number 2, here's another track from the Godzilla soundtrack. I got No Shelter from Rage Against the Machine. They literally insult the movie they're in, or the soundtrack of the movie they're in the song, which is great. The bass sounds like one of like those old school alert sirens, and like you hear like a bunker or something. It's like meh, meh. Great stuff. Just a badass song. I love Rage, and this is a terrible year, so easily make my list. Number 1 is going to be from my new album of the year winner. Originally, in our album of the year was Dave Matthews. That day is gone. It's Elliott Smith with Waltz Number 2. It's a waltz, which I love, and it's just a perfect balance of like the darkness and like misery in his lyrics, and the incredibly catchy, like almost poppy songwriting. Like even when he's depressed as hell, the melodies really come through. Love the Kathy's Clown reference. And then at the end, all these strings just like start swooping in. It gets all nutty and crazy. Badass song from Elliott.
All right, my wild card picks. My first one, another one-hit wonder, but not their hit. I've got Space Hog from their second album, the Chinese album, going with Almond Kisses, which is a sweet little pop song. It's a duet with Michael Stipe. And I just love the way the voices interact. They're mixed so close that like you can barely tell which one is singing lead. And like at various points throughout the song, one voice will take over the other one, and you almost don't even notice. It's almost like just one voice melded together. Very cool. Then I'm going with Jeff Buckley from his posthumous release, Sketches from My Sweetheart the Drunk. I've got Everybody Here Wants You, a track unlike anything on Grace. It's like this really sexy R&B tune. Jeff is singing the heck out of it. He goes up into that amazing falsetto. I think it really shows off just how much diversity was in him, and it, like how capable he was of so many different styles. And I think it just highlights the tragedy of his death and how many different things he could have gone on to do. Then I'm going to go with Medicine Hat by Sunvolt. Really cool song. I guess the lyrics are up for interpretation, but they seem to be describing the end of times. But the poetry of it, just brilliant wordplay, I think. It's got a great chorus, one of the catchier Sunvolt tunes. And there's some really cool guitar work on it as well. Then, along with Joe, I'm going with an Elliott Smith track. I've got Tomorrow, Tomorrow, which was the only track from EXO that made my top 10 back when we did Elliott Smith Week. Just the way, I think it's like almost in some ways the quintessential Elliott Smith song. It's everything that he does done so well. The layers of acoustic guitars, the way they're doubled, the amazing harmonies, the vocal harmonies. I think it's beautiful. It's melancholy. Just, a great, perfect Elliott Smith song. And then my winner's got to wait. So now time for the worst of the year.
Worst of the year. Joe throwing out some Godzilla soundtrack references. This was a huge year for soundtracks. You got Godzilla, you've got City of Angels, and you've got Armageddon. Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith is my least favorite song of 1998. And it's not even a case of, oh, it's a decent song, Cram, you're just sick of hearing it. No. 12 years old, summer of 98. I hated this song from the get-go. Never liked it. I hate the strings. Everything about it is just so fluffy, from the piano. I think the melody is incredibly sappy. I love Aerosmith, and this like kind of chisels away at like the perfect statue of Aerosmith to me. It's so over the top. And the thing that really ruins it for me, I don't even think it's a well-written song for what it's going for, especially with the bridge when it gets like all kind of rockin' and bluesy. And he's like, the sweetest thing will never do. And it's like, this doesn't fit. Like, it's just weird. It's just like Aerosmith being Aerosmith because they can. None of it works for me. I think it's a terrible movie, even worse song. I hate it. Might be Joe's number one, though. Let's see.
I love that song. Armageddon remains the only movie I've ever seen by myself in theaters. Love that movie. Love this song. Really actually got me into music in some ways in 98.
In all fairness, you've said that about 48 different songs now, the song to get you into music. It was Sour Girl, now it's this, now it's...
This one struck something. I mean, I didn't really get into Aerosmith afterward. It's not like Alice in Chains or SDP, but I was like, I can dig this. This is interesting. Aerosmith, you say. I didn't even know who Aerosmith was. No idea they had 70s hits back in that day. I was like, just give me 90s Aerosmith, baby. Woo! My worst song of the year, though, is Sex and Candy. Marcy Playground. I think it stinks. I've been forced to play this in so many cover bands that just I hate it more and more every time. I think the lyrics are dumb. I think the chord progression is dumb. Just everything about it stinks. I hate it.
Cram picked a song that Joe that Joe likes as his worst. Joe picks a song that I like as his worst. Can I pick a song that Cram likes as my worst? I hope not. I hope Cram doesn't like this song. And look, I'm a big defender of a lot of Canadian bands. I like a lot of music from Canada. I like Rush. I love Sloan, TPOH, I Mother Earth. The list goes on. But there is one band from Canada that I find completely insufferable. and that is the Bare Naked Ladies. I've got 1 week as my least favorite song of the year. Just awful on every level. It's every like bad thing about 90s music crapped into one song. I think the production on it is completely gross. There's like this low end sound effect type of noise going on through a lot of it that is just horrible. The drum sound is awful. It's just really bad. I hate the nonsensical like faux hip hop thing that they're doing. I hate the way the song starts where he comes in with it's just so bad. And like there's like this jolliness to them, like that's this goofball energy that's supposed to be a good time, but there's not any actual humor in it, and it just makes me want to barf. I hate it so much.
I hate it as well. So you're in the clear. They suck. They suck. They suck. All right, let's talk about the winners. My favorite song of 1998 is Daphne Descends by Smashing Pumpkins. So second win for the Pumpkins. On a little side note here, I was just reading an article or saw an article, I think it was Pitchfork, that was like, is Smashing Pumpkins Adore so underrated that now it's overrated? And I was like, that's the stupidest idea and headline I've ever seen in my life. Are we running out of stuff to talk about? Music criticism is getting so stupid. Anyway, it's an awesome song. It has that same style I was talking about with ABBA Adore. It is incredibly like dark gothy, but has like this synth present to it. It's very like just purple vibrant. I love it. It's kind of like neo-futuristic. And it's got like this really like bitter revenge kind of feeling to it, and like darkness falling and fallen angels kind of sensation. And it just becomes like this really slushing whirlwind of like sounds. There's like a little bit of like shoegaze kind of injected in it, which is really cool. And it's just got this really awesome, almost kind of like trip hoppy beat throughout the whole thing. It's got heavy bass beat to it, and just the way Billy Corgan like sings it is perfect with "You love him for yourself." It's just awesome. It crescendos perfectly, and it's got this one sound. I would assume it's done through a synthesizer, but it sounds almost like it could be just one like ebo note on the guitar that's really tubey and just goes through the whole song. So it sounds like it's just like this siren going off. It's very cool. It has like this big like evacuation kind of feel to it. I love it. It's now nowhere near. This is a weak year. This is nowhere near one of my favorite songs of all time, but it actually took the win this year pretty easily. I'm also shocked that I did not have an Elliott Smith song on here, by the way. And I was like, I had re-looked at it like throughout the week, and I was like, really, I don't have Elliott Smith on it. That must be an oversight, but it's true. I can't put it over any of these.
All right. Well, my winner for 98 is probably the only song that's like held up at all from this era. The only pop song from 98, I think that will still be remembered warmly into the future. I think people still love it. It is You Get What You Give from the New Radicals. Just a really great song in every way. The melodies, the bass lines, the guitar is great. It actually has real instrumentation. It has some electronic stuff, but it doesn't sound dated, I don't think, at all. It's great. The singer sounds exactly like Andy Sturmer from Jellyfish, which is fantastic in my mind. And, you know, he calls out Marilyn Manson and Courtney Love in it, which those people are still hated to this day. It's just like, boom, boom, nailed them all. I just think it's a really great song, and a bit of a one-hit wonder. The guy just like disappeared, went into production afterwards, but that is my winner, New Radicals. Woo!
All right. Well, I think Joe has probably got the upper hand in the voting this year. I'm going with a track from my album of the year. I've got Nobody's Fault But My Own by Beck, which I think is just a massive artistic leap for Beck. I think after Odelay, I'm not sure people really even understood just like how big of an artistic force Beck was. I think he was respected for like combining all these genres and doing like this kind of mishmash sort of thing on Odelay. But I don't think people realized that he would be able to kind of, isolate specific genres and kind of do them at will the way he does. This record, Mutations, and this track is very different from anything that he had done previously. It's got all these like Indian flourishes, great production from Nigel Godrich. And asked about writing the song, he said it was raining, he went to the basement and he wrote it very matter-of-factly. But I think he captures that feeling. It sounds like a song that you wrote in your basement when it was raining. The lyrics are excellent. His voice sounds great on it. I just think it's a really, really cool track. Got like a great atmosphere, a great mood to it. So yeah, that's my winner for 98.
One celebrity that Greg Alexander calls out, and you get what you give, that doesn't ring true is Beck. He says Beck and Hanson, Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson, we're all patrons to your mansion or whatever. Come around and kick your asses, whatever it is. He owes Beck an apology, definitely.
I don't mind that new Radical song, but that end that you keep referencing is kind of what kills it for me. I find it a little "we didn't start the fire"-ish, a little bit cheap, a little cop out, this will get me attention. I hope you don't win. I'd rather see Jason win if it's not me.
I'm going to win. Speaking of me winning, let's talk about 97. I was a very slight winner over Kramzer. The Battle of Radiohead, just 8 votes separated Let Down from Kramzer and Karma Police from me. But that does finally get me back in the win column. It's been a long time. I am now at 18 wins. Jason with 15.5, been stuck there for a while, my man. Kramzer at 12.5. So
really shocked it was that close between Let Down and Karma Police. I thought you would probably get close to half of the total vote for that week at least.
It seemed like Paranoid Android would have been the big winner. If Jason had picked that, easy victory.
All right, so be sure to drop down your favorite songs of the year in the comments. Let us know what you think of our lists. And remember to follow the link in the description to our website so that you can go vote on which of our selections is your favorite. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've got a Patreon as well if you'd like to support the channel. All of those links are in the video description. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.